Right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're about to start time period 1, day 4. It's going to be our second round of stations. This is the first station of our next 3 days going around. We're going to start something new today. We're going to talk about the Sumerians. We're going to kind of ease our way into talking about the Egyptians. But the first thing we got to do is start with our guy, Hammurabi. Now, before we get started, a lot of you might be seeing this video and saying, wow, Mr. Brown, was it like casual Wednesday or something? Like, what's going on with the outfit? At the end of the video, you're going to see what's going on. You're going to see why this is a more casual look than what you're normally used to seeing whenever you watch these films. All right, let's start off with Hammurabi. So, Hammurabi, we talked about him at the very end of the stations of the last 3 on the 3rd day. Very briefly, Hammurabi was a Sumerian king. He is going to take over, he's going to defeat the Akkadians in Mesopotamia, and he's going to take control of pretty much all of Mesopotamia because of that. Now, one of the things that happens as leaders, as any leader takes control of any area, is they have to impose their will on the people in which they conquer. Now, there's a couple different ways they can do this. Some emperors, they come in, conquer people, and turn those people all into their slaves. Or they add them to their armies in the way of like Alexander the Great or something like that. Hammurabi doesn't do that. When Hammurabi rolls into town, he tries his best to kind of keep things exactly as they were before. Hammurabi is a smart enough guy to know that if he goes in and conquers the people, he's got to control them. And the best way to control the people is to make them think they're still the ones with power. Hammurabi knows this. He knows to go in there, be very casual with the people, let them know that he's the boss, establish law, establish order, but not take away what they already had. So that's what we're going to establish Hammurabi, and we're going to establish, probably more importantly than that, his law codes. So I know at this point in time, a lot of you complain that you can't see the words that are on the board. I get it. Down here at the bottom of your screen, you see definitions that are going to start popping up and scrolling. Anything you appear or that appears down here at the bottom of the screen, that's the stuff you're going to want to write down. That's the stuff you can pause the video on, go through, take your pen, write down all the things that you need to write down, and make sure you understand what's going on. See that? I'm hearing your concerns, and I'm fixing them, making them better. So let's talk about these law codes. The first thing you got to know about these law codes is that there is 282 laws that govern all of Sumeria. So basically all of Mesopotamia at this point in time. Now, Sumeria itself, Mesopotamia itself, is going to start to expand. It was just that area in between the Tigris and the Euphrates, but as we know now, it's starting to work its way up into the Indus River valleys. It's starting to spread out through what's now like present-day Afghanistan, Pakistan, a little bit of northern India, as well as the Middle East, and then obviously into Africa in the forms of Egypt and working its way down the Nile. So we're going to go into all those places, but right now, just think about regular Mesopotamia. Think about Tigris, Euphrates, but just to the north of that. That's kind of the time period we're in. All right, 282 law codes. What are these things and what are they about? First thing you need to know about them is they are very strict. When I say very strict, I mean almost everything is corporal punishment. Almost everything is going to inflict pain onto somebody else. Very little of incarceration. There's very little of fines to pay or anything like that. Almost all of it is physical bodily harm. This is also where we get the phrase eye for an eye. It's this idea of retribution as justice. If you take out someone's eye, they have a right to take out your eye. If you kill someone, they will kill you back. Or at least, their family will. Somebody will kill you back. But it goes beyond that. It's not just corporal punishment for physical harm. It also works for everything. There's also strict laws that get put in place for labor. If somebody builds your house and your house falls down, they are responsible for replacing your house. All right, it's like the first warranty, but it's happening 5,000 years ago. Under that same context, if their house falls down, and let's say it kills a family member of yours, not only does the person have to rebuild your house, but then you also get to kill a family member of theirs. All right, so it's that kind of equal representation, except it doesn't apply to everybody. And this is the thing about Hammurabi. Hammurabi is a good leader by all accounts, everything we found. Hammurabi is a guy who kind of stands up. He likes to keep a pretty firm grip on his territories, except in the case of rich people. If you are a noble, the rules apply to you less. This should not be surprising. This still happens today. Rich people have more privileges than poor people. Rich people are greater than poor people, who I'm going to call the peasant class. That's pretty much how they're going to be known throughout history. The peasants, unfortunately, have harsher penalties to them. For instance, if a peasant were to kill a noble, that peasant's going to die. If a noble kills a peasant, there's a really good chance that noble might have to pay a fine, he might have a hand cut off, but he definitely won't be put to death. All right, so there is unequal justice. It should be the same, but it's not. It really is the same among social classes, but we learned that last class about, I'm going to write it here again, social, I'm going to spell it wrong here, hierarchy. All right, under social hierarchy, there are different classes of people. Rich people are going to have more privileges than poor people. That's just the way it is. It's the way it's been throughout history. That's the way it still is to this day. It should not come as a surprise to anybody that's the way it works. But it is also not just about class. Turns out, Hammurabi was also a bit of a chauvinist. Again, not surprising since we're talking 5,000 years ago. If nobles are greater than peasants, then men are greater than women under Hammurabi's laws. Men had the power, women did not. This is very much true when it comes to marriages. Under Hammurabi, marriages were arranged. That means they were set up. Somebody made you marry this other person, right? In that relationship, the men are the ones with the power. They tell the women what to do and how to do it. The women run the house. It is their job. They have all control over the things that go on at the house. The men tell them what to do and how they want it done. The women have to do it. The same thing applies, I should say also, to children. Men has control under both. If a woman were to do something for the man, in other words, if she's unfaithful, she's stepping out on him, or if she simply is not doing what the husband asked her to do. He says, hey woman, make me a sandwich, and she comes back with a salad, he can divorce her. Or in some instances, if she's a peasant, actually kill her. And the killing is not so nice either. They're actually going to drown her. The children, if a child makes physical contact with his father, the father has the right to take off the hand of the child. Or if it's bad enough, they can disown the child. Very rarely would it result in death. But other bad things are definitely going to happen as a result of that. If a child is outcasted or shunned by the parents, they're pretty much going to be outcasted and shunned by society. So it's not going to be good for any child living in that situation. It is very much, this is going to be a vocab word you're going to work on or talk about. It is very much what we're going to call a patriarchal, spelling this, a patriarchal society. In other words, men dominated, women, children are all subservient to them. All right. So that's pretty much the basics over Hammurabi I wanted you guys to know. As you bounce around the room today, you're also going to see some stuff on the Sumerian culture itself. You're going to see some stuff on writing, which is going to be about cuneiform. What you need to know about cuneiform is that it's the first writing. It also gave us the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is all good. It's an old Sumerian epic, epic poem, epic story. We're going to talk about epics in a couple of days when we get into ancient Greece. These guys, as well as writing, also became great inventors. They were big-time tool makers. They really start branching out in the use of metals also. We're going to see a lot of bronze being used, copper, and tin. It's all going to start to come up during this time period, so roughly 5,000 years ago. Finally, one of the big things they gave us, I'm happy about it, but I don't like learning about it. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, is they really revolutionized the way we do math. They're not going to be credited with the big numbering systems the way we are now. However, the way we tell time is directly related to the Sumerians. They gave us the concept of breaking things down into 60ths. Into the 60 things, there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. Everything kind of funnels back down to that 60 whatever breakdown. That is all from the Sumerians. The calendars are like that. The astrological stuff is like that. In fact, these guys also, in addition to math, gave us astronomy. Yeah, I'm spelling it wrong. Astronomy, the study of the stars and constellations. They were the first ones to look up and actually study and view the constellations. They didn't have telescopes, obviously, or anything like that. They were just using their naked eye, but because they also had no lights, it was pretty easy to do. All you had to do was look up. All right, so my part in this whole video is done. We are completely finished talking about Hammurabi, talking about writing, talking about tool making and math and science, but I did promise to tell you why I am dressed so casual like this. So yesterday, Miss Emmerich is sitting in class. She tells me, she goes, hey, my friend nominated me for one of those ice bucket challenges. I said, cool. We should do it here at school. We got ice, we got buckets, we're good to go. She says, all right, no problem. Let's do it during the last hour of the day. So I go down, I get a bucket filled with ice, filled with water, walk it down outside, stand on a ledge, get ready to pour this thing. She goes through her announcement, she lists out 3 of her friends, and all of a sudden she goes, oh yeah, and my cooperating teacher, Jason Brown. So, at the conclusion of this video, you're going to see Miss Emmerich first become soaking wet and drenched, getting a whole bucket of ice dumped on her head, and for some unknown reason, you're going to see me do it also. So that's where this video is concluded at. Her getting really sopping wet with a bucket of ice, and then me getting all sopping wet with a bucket of ice. And then you're going to see who we pass it on to after that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you were able to take notes on it. Hopefully you enjoy us making complete fools out of ourselves for you, for your benefit. So hopefully you learned something, get ready to move on to the next station. Hopefully you got something. Make sure you study, make sure you read, make sure you do everything you're supposed to do. Good luck.
So cold, I can't even take it.
All right, I think we're going. All right, you have to talk loud, but I think you're good.
All right,
just tell me when.
all right, go ahead. All right, I was nominated by PM Broadway to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I am going to nominate my friends Caitlin, Zach, Adam, and Alyssa, and I also nominate my cooperating teacher, Jason Brown. You have 24 hours to get it done or donate $100 to the ALS Foundation. Go ahead.
Oh, this is going to be bad.
Okay, you can stop it. Oh, God. That
Morning, teachers, administrators, staff. You might be wondering why I'm sending you this email and why we're standing outside. We've got a little message for you guys. As my academic mentoring students, you're going to see all around here today, have come up with a challenge for our entire staff. You guys have probably seen it online. Somebody's about to dump a whole bucket of ice on my head. But it is for a good cause, because we're not just dumping ice on our heads, we're also raising money. I have challenged my academic mentoring students to a challenge, a goal. $150 we're going to raise for ALS funding research that we're all going to donate, but we're not just doing it for that, we're doing it for a little bit of ourselves too. After we reach our goal of $150, I have pledged to buy my students breakfast for their academic mentoring class. We're going to challenge a few teachers to do the exact same thing. Let's see if we can spread this thing all around the building. Gentlemen, if you guys are ready,
We gotta nominate
I think we're about to do this thing. Ladies, who's next?
Mr. Rudd.
Miss Winningham.
Mr. Matley.
All right. All right.